Hello friends, today we will be discussing the Yojana of the month July 2023. This edition of Yojana is based on cooperatives. So in the first part, we will have a look at the basic facts of cooperatives, and then moving on, we will also have a look at the other aspects which are mentioned in the Yojana in the other parts of this video. If you want to download the slide, the link can be found in the description. If you want to listen to this video in Hindi language, you can go to our another channel, that is prepezee. So basically, what actually is cooperatives? See, it is basically a group of people who come together for their common economic needs. They pool in their resources so that every person's resources, they can be used by the community as a whole. Let us understand this through an example. See, let's suppose that there is a village. In this village, let's suppose that there are 10 households. They are having 10 of the farmlands here, like this. So now, for a single person, it might be very difficult to buy an equipment which is a very costly equipment like a tractor. Let's suppose that these 10 households, they are not a very rich farmers, they are poor farmers, they are marginal farmers, or they are small farmers. So that is why it is not possible for any individual to buy a tractor. But then again, now what they do is, these 10 people, they come together and they pool in resources to buy a tractor. Now what will happen? See, when they have bought a tractor, now whenever any one of them needs this tractor, they can request the cooperative to do so. They have formed a cooperative and now they can request for the tractor. So if it is free for the day, they can take it and they can plow their field. So now you can see that obviously the drudgery has decreased for them. The manual labor which they needed to put in, it has now decreased. Also, the quality of their product has increased. We can say that by using the modern equipment, they can also improve the yield or the productivity of their farmland. Therefore, we can see that by pooling in the resources, the money, individual farmer who did not really have the capacity, now together they might be having the capacity to get their fields plowed by a modern equipment like a tractor and the associated equipments. So this is the benefit of making cooperatives. One very important aspect of having cooperatives, that they are democratically managed. What do we mean by this? See, democratically managed simply means that the decisions in the cooperatives, they are taken by the members themselves. The decisions are not taken by any higher authority. For example, the government or the authorities like DM or SDM, they have no control over the decisions of the cooperatives. The people, the members, they come together and whatever is required, they do it in an integrated manner. Now, let us talk about some of the values which are now clear from this definition. We have already seen that all of these cooperatives, they are based on democracy. Second very important point is that membership to the cooperatives is voluntary. There is no provision to seek a compulsory membership of any cooperative. For example, let's again talk about this village. It is having 10 members. Now let's say one of the members named A, he is not interested in joining this cooperative. He says that I am okay, I am very okay doing manual labor on my farm. I don't want to get added to a group. I don't like these kind of groups. So again, Mr. A, he is completely free to not join this cooperative. There is absolutely no requirement for him if he is not interested in this. Therefore, any membership to these cooperatives is voluntary. It cannot be enforced upon any individual. Another important aspect is equality of control. It simply means that all the members of the cooperative, they have control over its resources. For example, we were talking about this tractor as an equipment. Now, let's say today I need this, but you also need it. We are both the member of this cooperative. So we can decide that today, okay, I will take it, and tomorrow you can take it, or today you take it, tomorrow I will take it. But ultimately, every member has equal control over any of the resources owned by this cooperative. There is no exclusivity. It's not like that if a democratically elected person, a president is there, secretary is there, they have more control over these resources. No. Everyone has equal control over the resources of the cooperative. Next is equality of opportunity. See, one very important aspect here is that, see, in nearby this village, let's say there is another village. However, in that only one single rich farmer lives. This rich farmer, Mr. R, he is having the whole resources, he is having the whole village to himself, and he has enough money to buy multiple tractors or any other equipment which is required. But now, see, the persons, X, Y, Z persons who are living here, Mr. X, Mr. Y and Z, they are not able to buy this equipment. But then again, now we have seen that when they moved into a cooperative, when they joined together to form a cooperative, they now acquired this capacity to buy this expensive equipment, which they did not have earlier due to the lack of resources. Therefore, now we see that these people, they are now equivalent to Mr. R. Mr. XYZ of this village, they are now equivalent to Mr. R in terms of resources which they want to use, in terms of equipment which they want to use in their fields. And therefore, cooperatives, they provide equality of opportunity. Next factor is promotion of common benefits. See, it is important to understand that cooperatives work in the direction of providing common benefits to all the members. It will not happen that a cooperative will function only for the benefit of one single individual member. Whatever decisions are taken, they are taken in the interest of majority of members. Most members benefit from something, you take the decision. If these members are not benefiting, then you won't take that decision. So therefore, these cooperatives, they work for the common benefits of members. But again, there is yet another point here. The cooperatives, they are not working just for the common benefit of members itself, but also the mutual benefit of producers and consumers. How is this possible? See, let me take an example. Let's say there is the farmers cooperative. It is producing onion. Now, when they have produced it, let's say instead of a cooperative, let's just assume that an individual farmer, when he is producing this onion, what will happen? He is producing, let's say, this onion at 10 rupees, let's say. So 1 kg of onion is costing 10 rupees to him. So now he goes to the market. What will happen? He goes to the middleman, and this middleman, he says that, okay, I will take your onion for rupees 20 per kg. He says, okay, and then he gives it to him. But now let's say 100 of these farmers, they now organize themselves into a cooperative. Now they come together and they come to this middleman and say, see, we have thousands of kilos of onion, and how much price are you willing to give? So now, instead of procuring this onion from individual farmers, this middleman says, okay, I will be saving my logistics cost, I will be getting this heavy amount, this heavy quantity, this large quantity of onions from a single source. So let me pay more to them. He says that, okay, I was paying 20 rupees to a single farmer and I am paying 20 to each of you. Instead, I will be saving my logistics cost. So let me translate it to you, and I will be paying you 30 rupees per kg for the onion. So now you can see that the farmers, individual farmers, he was just getting 10 rupees, now he is getting 20 rupees as a profit. So he has just doubled his profit. But let's now suppose that there is yet another apartment, a society in which multiple flats are there. These people individually, when they went to market and they wanted to purchase the onion, the middleman was selling it to some kind of, let's say, a shopkeeper, a retailer, and he is selling this onion to them to rupees 50 per kg. Now what happens? They go to this middleman, they say, these flats, let's say there were 200 flats here, and they form a cooperative, consumer cooperative, and now what they do? They go to this place. Now what they do? They will ask this person that, okay, Mr. Middleman, we want to purchase your onion. Tell us how much you will charge for it. Now he says that, okay, I was selling it individually for rupees 50 per kg. Let me combine it, since I am also saving my logistics cost here also. Therefore, let me sell it to you for 40 rupees per kg. So now again you can see that every person who was buying onions is saving rupees 10 per kg here. Every apartment owner, every consumer is doing so. But again, there is yet another aspect here. Rather than going to the middleman, now the consumer cooperative, they decide to go to the farmer itself directly. So why should they go to the middleman when they can actually go to the farmer cooperative itself? So now they ask these farmers, okay sir, what are you willing to, how much are you willing to give this? How much will you charge to us if we are willing to purchase, let's say 1000 kg of onion? So now the farmers cooperative, it says that we are anyways getting 30 rupees per kg, and so we are willing to give it to you for 30 rupees per kg, or let's say 35 rupees even per kg. So again, even in this case 35 rupees also, now they are saving 5 rupees per person, and therefore you can see that now when a cooperative has been formed, both farmers and both consumers, and as well as the consumers, both are now profiting from the formation of this cooperative. So therefore we can see from this example that cooperatives, they actually lead to mutual benefit of not just its own members, but also producers and consumers by bringing them together. Apart from that, another important aspect or value of cooperatives is that they have profit distribution. That is, whatever profit is earned by these cooperatives, it is distributed among the members of the cooperative. So this is what are the major aspects or features of cooperatives. Now let us have a look at what are the types of cooperatives operating in India. Firstly, as I just told you, there are producers cooperatives, then there are consumer cooperatives. Similarly, there are farmers cooperatives, and again I was just talking to you about the cooperative housing societies, that an apartment people, they now come together. See, there is actually a sense, a logical sense to it. For example, let's not assume this is an apartment. Let's say that this is actually another colony in which there are multiple plots. So now these plots, let's say these 8 plots are there, and each of this household, it is keeping one security guard here. So each one is keeping one security guard, and every one of these households, they are paying, let's say, 10,000 rupees to this security guard. So in total, they are paying 80,000 rupees. But what is happening? Let's say this person, he just went for a nature's call, he just went out, and there was somebody came and steal their products. So now these other security guards, they are not interested in this person. Why? Because they don't care. Till the time their own individual household is safe, they don't really care what is happening in the other one. So despite paying 80,000 jointly, this individual household is not able to ensure its protection. But now let's say they come together, another scenario, they come together, now these households, they appoint two, they mutually come together and they appoint 2 of these security guards. Now what is happening, even when this particular person, he has went away for nature's call or for eating his food or whatever, this person is still alert. And ultimately every individual household is now safe, they can sleep peacefully at night. So now, and what are they paying? They are paying 20,000 rupees. So individually, if we look at this, we will come to the conclusion that despite paying a lot lesser amount, that is 2.5k each for this security guard, now what is happening? These people, they are now actually more secure. So this is what the sense, this is what the logic of making cooperatives is. You can see that in the apartments, we have multiple flats. let's say an apartment or society, housing society is there, it is having 100 flats. So what will they do? If there are 100 flats in the society, they will hire a cleaner. Apart from that, they will also hire, let's say, a common person, a cleaner, a security guard is there. Let's say they even want a man, an electrician who can come and again see to it. They want a plumber. So every one of these individuals, if individual flat owner was contacting them, they would be charging them exorbitant amounts. But now since they have pooled their resources, they are paying, let's say, 1000 rupees per day, per month for maintenance. Now what will happen is that in very small cost, they can enjoy regular visits of these personnel. And that is what is the sense of cooperative housing societies. Similarly, marketing cooperative societies, let's say, cooperative societies are also there for the industries also. For example, let's say I have a sports goods. Let's say a shop in a city. Let's say it's in Meerut, because Meerut is famous for sports goods. So now when I have a sports goods shop, I go to, let's say, the newspaper and I tell them, okay sir, I want to put my ad in your newspaper. He says, I will be putting your ad, but then I will be charging you rupees 50 lakh for let's say 10 number of ads. Now I go to TV also. In the TV there is, let's say, football World Cup is going on. So what is happening? I ask them, sir, I want to put my ad. They say, okay, we will put your ad, but then we will be charging you rupees 50 lakh for, let's say, 5 ads of 10 seconds each. So now I have to pay rupees 1 crore. That is very significant amount. But what is happening is that now I go to the other sports goods owners in my area and I ask them to form a cooperative. Now 10 of these people are interested and we come together. Now when we are going to these places, this newspaper as well as this let's say the broadcaster, what we are doing, we are asking them to place our ad, and the cost is now being divided between 10 of us. So we are just placing for the ad for sports goods in Meerut Surajkund market. And each individual is now paying just 10 lakh rupees. That is a fraction of the amount which was initially conceived, and yet is getting global publicity. So therefore, this is what marketing cooperative societies do. They pool in resources, they pool in their products, and then they market them at a fractional cost to each one of their members. Similarly, there are credit cooperative societies. What they do? Basically, let's say there are 10 members and each one A, B, C, D, let's say till J, 10 members are there. And now let's say I am the person A. Today I don't need any money. I have savings of, let's say, 1000 rupees. So I put in my savings in this cooperative society. Now this cooperative society, tomorrow, let's say member B, he needs 10,000 rupees for his daughter's wedding. So he goes to the cooperative society, he asks for the money, he gets this money. Tomorrow he can pay back it in the EMIs of, let's say, 1,000 rupees each. And whenever in the future member A or me, I will be needing this money, I can also go to the cooperative. So basically people pool in their money, the savings, and in the time of any kind of emergency, they can now get this loan at a very cheap, very small interest rate. So this is what is actually a credit cooperative society. So these are the type of cooperatives which are operating in India. Now let us have a look at the principles of cooperatives. See, these 7 principles, they are not just to India, they are also common to all the countries. That is, they are accepted globally as the 7 cooperative principles which are applicable to the cooperatives. First, as I told you, the membership is open and voluntary, that anyone can become the member and yet no one can be forced to become a member of the cooperative. There is democracy in the member control. That is, the decisions which are taken by the cooperative, they are taken by the members themselves. They are in the interest of the members of this cooperative. Then there is members' economic participation. That is, the cooperatives, they are not cultural organizations. This is not a place where you go and just pass your time. This is a place which is working for the economic benefit of the people. They pool in resources so that the resources, they can now generate more resources which can then be shared back between the members of this cooperative. The next principle is autonomy and independence. That is, no higher authority can give orders to them. No one can stop them from doing anything. They cannot tell them to take a particular decision. For example, let's say today tomato is very costly, very expensive in the market. So now the government cannot come and say to this cooperative that, okay, you are not allowed to buy tomatoes from the market. Instead, go and buy tomato ketchups only. No, if I have this cooperative, I am at my autonomy. I have independence of taking my own decisions. I can buy tomato, I can buy onion, I can buy whatever I need. Similarly, if we talk about the education and training, the cooperatives, they take pains to ensure that the members, that is the people who contribute to making a cooperative, they are trained well, they are educated well, they have the necessary information so that whenever they are requiring any kind of assistance, they can approach the cooperatives for the same. Apart from that, cooperatives also look at the educations of its office bearers. What do we mean by that? See, any cooperatives has democratically elected president. It has democratically elected secretary, a treasurer, or whatever offices which are chosen by the cooperatives to be operative. It is having these people as the elected members who are now taking care of the cooperatives, who are involved in the decision making. Apart from that, there are non-officials also. For example, there will be a manager also. There will be a person who is managing everything. There will be a person who is sitting in the office. There will be a person who is sitting on the reception. There will be a person who is a peon, who is looking at the files and cabinet management and all those things. So their training, their education, their whatever requirement they have, that is fulfilled by the cooperative itself so that it is professionally managed. Next aspect is cooperation among cooperatives. So as I just told you, the cooperatives, they contact each other. Producer cooperatives, they are in contact with the consumer cooperatives so that they can better goods, they can sell better goods to these consumer cooperatives, and these consumer cooperatives can get cheaper goods of better quality at a rate which is both beneficial to producer as well as consumer. And finally, the cooperatives, they are majorly, they are concerned for the community. That is, they are focused upon the social welfare. They see into it that the community as a whole benefits out of the principle of forming this cooperative. So these are the principles behind the cooperatives. Now let us have a look at what are the constitutional provisions. So see, the constitutional provisions, when we talk about it, cooperatives, they are mentioned in fundamental rights. That is Article 19(1)(c). Initially, it was just right to form associations or unions. Later on, it was amended to include cooperative societies. They are also present in DPSPs. That is, state has the duty to promote formation for autonomous functioning, democratic control and professional management of cooperative societies. Apart from that, one whole part, that is part 9b, it is dedicated to the cooperative societies. So these are the constitutional provisions. In fact, see, whenever you are writing an answer, it would be good, any kind of question which is being asked on cooperatives, you can start it by writing these things, that the cooperatives, they are mentioned in the Indian Constitution in Article 19(1)(c), like that, Article 43b as a part of DPSPs and part 9b, and then you can go ahead and make the body of write the body of this answer. So this will be a very good introduction. If you want to write it, it will be very, very good and it will be fetching you good marks. Now when we talk about the history, see, the cooperatives, in 1904, Cooperative Credit Societies Act was passed, which was later amended in 1912. So what was this act? Initially, when the cooperatives was made, the focus was on providing rural credit. Why? See, the farmers, they have been one of the most vulnerable sections of Indian society. India is very much dependent on its farmers, and yet they are very much dependent on the money lenders, the middlemen, the traders in the community and inside their society itself. So whenever they require money for sowing their seeds, they go to these people. They give them money, but then again they charge exorbitant rates of interest in such a way that we see that many of the farmers are not able to pay back this interest itself. Let's just, even if we forget the principal, they are not able to pay this interest, and they are then forced to commit suicides. And therefore, we see that these cooperatives, when they were initially formed, the aim was to give these poor farmers credit, that is loans, so that they can sow their seeds and then they can pay back. But later on, in 1914-15, McLagan Committee on Cooperatives was formed. This committee said that rather than just focusing on relief, we should not be focusing just on this component. We should be now widening our stance to provide social welfare to these people, social economic welfare to these small and marginal farmers. How? See, it said that let us pool in the resources. Let us not just pool in the money, let us just pool in the resources so that the productivity of the farmlands increases. And tomorrow the farmer has enough money not just for food itself, but also enough money to send the children to schools, enough money for any health related emergencies, enough money to, let's say, buy houses, enough money so that they can invest in their fields and they can improve the quality. They can buy better seeds, they can buy modern machinery, they can buy modern equipment and such things, so that ultimately their productivity, their yield increases and they get much better remuneration from agriculture. So later on, multiple steps was taken, but the most important step in this direction has been taken on 6th of July 2021, when the Union government, it led the formation of Ministry of Cooperation. So basically, on 6th of July 2021, Ministry of Cooperation was created at the center with the goal Sahkar se Samriddhi, or cooperation to prosperity. So this is the goal here. Basically, see, the major aspects of formation of this ministry is that it is looking at economic freedom. How economic freedom? As I just told you, right now I have some savings. So I deposit this savings to my cooperative. Tomorrow, whenever I need money, I can again go to this cooperative and ask for loan, and it will be providing it to me as a member. So this is how economic freedom is achieved. Today I give money and tomorrow I can take money. In fact, today I can take money and then I can pay it in easier terms. Then self-reliance. See, what happens is that I don't need to go to the money lenders. I don't need to go to the traders for getting money. What I will do? I will go to my cooperative societies. When I am a member of cooperative society, why not get a loan at cheaper interest rate than from members or money lenders or traders? So I am self-reliant. I am forming my cooperative, I am increasing the yield or productivity, and I will be paying back the money whenever it is time, whenever the time is due for paying it back. Then again, social justice. As we just talked about, the cooperatives, they are being formed, they are the people, the most vulnerable sections of the society, they are now coming together to form these kind of cooperatives. So this is leading to social justice, because these vulnerable sections, for example the women, they are forming the self-help groups. Then they are combining their resources and they are producing handicrafts which are sold at a good prices in the international market. But can you imagine a single woman making some kind of handicraft to access this international market? No, it was not possible earlier. But by forming a cooperative, they can. They can reach the NGOs, they can reach the international market and get much better prices than earlier. Similarly, the vulnerable sections, the historically oppressed sections, the scheduled tribes, they can, whatever they are making, the handicrafts they are making, these handicrafts can now compete with the mill produced goods, factory produced goods. Why? Because of their quality. And quality can only be explained when you come together. You cannot, an individual cannot fight these expensive mills, these automatic mills. An individual is not expected to fight it, and therefore these goals can only be achieved by forming cooperatives. Now let us have a look at the mandate of this ministry, that what is it supposed to do. See, first of all, it has to look into the general policy. That is, what are the policies which should be made by the government so that they can benefit the cooperative movement in the country. They can increase the number of cooperatives in the country. However, here one point which has to be remembered is that this ministry of cooperation, it is only concerned with the general policy directions. It is not at all concerned with one single individual unit. The individual units, they are managed by the respective ministry. For example, see, if we talk about, let's say, agricultural this cooperative, or we talk about the animals, the pet animals, or these milch animals, in those cases, these cooperatives, they are managed by the agriculture ministry. Industry, MSMEs, they are managed by their own industry. So industrial cooperatives, they are managed by their own industry. So this is, any administrative control is held by the ministry which is managing that kind of cooperative. Next, they are working to realize the mission of cooperation to prosperity, as we just talked about. Their mandate is also to strengthen the cooperative movement in the country and let it reach the grassroots, that is the villages, so that people who are still not in the development stream, just like in the rural areas or the tribal areas or the most vulnerable sections, the tribal areas, the sections which are very tough to reach, which are in the remote corners of the country, they can also benefit from this movement. Apart from that, yet another important point is that this ministry's mandate also includes that the economic development, which includes cooperatives, should be there in all the country. That is, we should be promoting people to make cooperatives so that they can achieve better remuneration for the products they are making. Also, spirit of responsibility among its members. That is, the members, they should be working for the welfare and promotion of economic growth of the country. That is a different thing, that when they are working for the economic growth of the whole country, their individual interests are also taken care of. Apart from that, the ministry is looking at creation of policy, any acts or legal rules or bylaws or any other institutions which are required for increasing or improving the condition of cooperatives in the country. For example, when we talk about the institutions, National Cooperative Organization, or NCDC, that is National Cooperative Development Corporation, it was formed in 1963 by an act of the parliament. Therefore, it is a statutory organization. Basically, NCDC, it is concerned with, say, when we talk about the agricultural commodities, the let's say industries or the handicrafts, the processing, production, their storage, their export, all these activities, they are taken care of the NCDC. Similarly, the ministry's mandate includes incorporation, that is formation of cooperative society, their regulation, as well as if cooperative society, some of them, if any one of it wants to close, then they can go to the ministry for easily winding up their operations. However, as I just told in the previous slide, that the administrative machinery which is having a control over the individual unit, that will be looking at itself. That is, the individual units, they will be managed or regulated by the respective administrative ministries. Similarly, the training of personnel, that is members, the office bearers and non-officials, that is members, that each and every member of the cooperative, office bearers, that is the elected president, elected the executive members, elected secretary, treasurer, and the non-officials, that the persons who are full-time or part-time employed for taking care of the offices, for taking care of the applications and such other things. They are also their education and their training is also the ministry's mandate. Apart from that, one another important data which you can use is that there are 8.54 lakh cooperatives operating in India as of now, out of which 80% are non-credit, just like farmers, consumers, credit, the farmers and consumers and cooperative housing societies, and 20% are credit. So if we talk about the data, see, cooperatives are present in almost 98% of the villages in the country. And they are having 29 crore of the members. So this is the basic starting, that is the first part. We'll be continuing the other aspects of cooperatives in the subsequent parts. And if you like this, please like, share and subscribe. And thank you so much.